One of the final clans in Vanguard is gonna make his introduction in this set, and it's none other than Link Joker.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to part 5 of our set review of the Vilest Deletor, and today we're going to talk about the set Deletors in the not other set review of Link Joker. And today we're gonna look in these new Deletor cards as well as some other specific cards that were introduced in this set for Link Joker, and there's a lot to go over as soon as they also got the trial deck. So without further ado, I want to jump right into these cards and try to rapid pace through them, so I might not give a complete argument why I give some ratings as to not make this video longer than it really needs. So to start off, we have of course the triggers. They are all generic, so I'll give them 2 stars as we can right into the next cards. Then we have the starter of the trial deck, that is Sprout the Leader Luchi. That's a 4-star card for this starter, as it's a normal standard V starter, and nothing really special to talk about that. Then we also got a second starter, and that is Schwarzschild Dragon. I also give this one 4 stars, usually give this one lower, but as seen as we probably going to get more support towards the Cyber Dragons, and maybe some people don't really like the lead artworks, then I can think that this is a fine alternate option for them. So that's why 4 stars for this one. Then we got the vanilla 10k 10k for Force Clans, and this is in the form of Bloating Deletor Geo. This is 3 stars, as seen as just an overall decent card to run. Maybe you want it, maybe you don't, but it's fine that it has all the options available to it. Then we got the generic normal PG in the form of one wheel of the Galaxy Cosmo Chaplet, and I give this one 2 stars as it probably won't be the most ideal perfect guard to run, but it's an option that we have available to us. Then the perfect guard that most people are probably going to run, that is Flowers and Vacuum Cosmo Rave, the countercharge PG for at the time that was the Messiahs, is now returned into a draw PG form, and I will give this one 5 stars as it's just a good draw PG and draw trigger and perfect guard in general. Alright, we got the first normal cards for Link Joker, and in the beginning I want to go over the Cyber Dragon support cards, as this is a little neat archetype in itself. And the one that's going to kick it off is Gravity Ball Dragon. And also note that if you want a more in-depth analysis about the main Cyber Dragon cards, that's the grade 1, the grade 2 and the grade 3, then I highly recommend you guys to check out this video where I go into depth in these cards themselves. So the grade 1 has a skill, continues on rearguard circle. During your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less rearguards, all of your Cyber Dragons in the same row as this unit get plus 4k. Note that it is row and not column, so the units to the left and to the right of this one get the power, and not the one behind or in front of it. It's a decent card that I give 3 stars, as it itself doesn't really generate power in the column, but it can generate 4 to 8k power on the field in itself. And if you have an entire back row filled with these ones, that's a 16k booster for each column, and that's pretty damn high. And it seems we got a lot of other grade 2s and grade 3s to work with. Even if you put it into the front row, it generates some power. The only issue with this card and not making it 4 star is that we don't have another grade 1 Cyber Dragon as of this set, so maybe in the future it will get better. Then for the grade 2 we got Gravity Collapse Dragon. This one has the skill Auto Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. When an attack hits the Vanguard, look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck, write or call up to 1 grade 3 Cyber Dragon from a mundane to the circle that this unit is on as rest, and shuffle your deck. What is great about this card is that it enables you the fact that you can superior write from grade 1 to immediately grade 3 in the Cyber Dragon centric deck, as when you write this thing as grade 2, you attack with the Vanguard, they may not be able to guard it, they take the hit, you're lucky to get it in grade 3, and you write it immediately, and you also get the force marker. So that's a really good aggressive tempo play, and also good defensive play against some Exile clans, as they might not be able to hit you with your 13k base. On the rear guard, it's a little bit less good, as it doesn't really give you anything and you lose an interceptor, but it does allow you to filter your deck, and maybe you get a grade 3 with a good rearguard skill in the field that maybe have an unplace effect or anything as of maybe future support. So it does have a neat little interaction with that as well. So as that, I give it 4 stars, but mainly because of the superior right potential and the hit pressure that it gives. That's really nice in a Force Clan. Then the last card of this right chain, that is Schwarzschild Dragon, the grade 3, and this one has 2 interesting skill. One is Act Vanguard Circle once per turn, costs counter plus 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and bind it face down. And the second skill is Auto Vanguard Circle, costs counter plus 1 and Soul Blast 1 grade 3, and turn all cards in your opponent's bind zone face up. Your opponent cannot normal call cards with the same card name as face-up cards in his or her bind zone until the end of turn. count the cards bound after this. So this in turn is a new kind of lock mechanic where your opponent cannot either guard with those skills in your attack phase, but they cannot call them in their next own turn in their own main phase. And this is a great card to stall for late game, as you can lock them out of their potential power play cards if you're able to bind them earlier in the game. And it will also make you be able to survive some extra turns and then go into more powerful card later on. Also, his own once per turn skill allows you to have more control playability on the field, and that makes it a great versatile card in all kinds of sense. And I definitely think it's a 5-star worth, as this card in its own right makes you question if you want to build a Cyber Dragon centric deck, as this card alone is pretty damn powerful on its own, and that says something. The next up, we got the supporting cards for the Cyber Dragons, and the first one, that's Aroma Terbar Dragon, and his skills: auto and rearguard circle. When placed, cost countless 1, choose up to one of your opponent's rearguards and bind and face it down. So this in its own isn't really that great of a card. I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars, as yes, it has some more control, but it's only a rearguard skill and it's on place, but it has the force marker if you need to write. And this does have an interaction with Gravity Collapse Dragon, as when you need to call this thing on top of a Collapse Dragon on your rearguard circle, you can activate this guy's ability immediately and potentially snipe something off the field. So it has a neat little interaction with that, but overall not that great, and will probably be removed from the deck when we get something better. So that's why only 2 stars. Next up, we've got Nordstram Dragon, and this one has the skill of auto rearguard circle. When placed, if you have a Cyber Dragon Vanguard, choose up to one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rearguards, bind it face down, then cast retire this unit and counter charge 1. So this is in fact a much better grade 3 support card, as it also allows you to counter charge in the Cyber Dragon build. And once again, it interacts really well with the grade 2 if you need to call it on top of on the rearguard circle, as you then immediately can bind something for free and then retire it, and you get a counter charge off it. So you will remove the unit entirely and you get an extra retire, or basically an extra bind of it, and counter charge. That's a pretty damn neat interaction in itself. And because there's a rearguard skill and it doesn't have a force marker, it doesn't really hurt itself, as seen as it has a rearguard centric skill. So I think it's a 3-star worth card, and it has some neat little combo potential. And then the last Cyber Dragon that we have available to us is Lemaitre Dragon, and his skills: auto on rearguard circle and guardian circle. When placed, if you have more rearguards than your opponent, cost Soul Blast 1, and this unit get power plus 10k and shield plus 10k until the end of turn. This can be either become a 20k attacker or a 15k shield. And the fact that it is so versatile makes it a pretty damn decent supporting card to run. And I think that therefore is a 3-star card in my mind, as it's not over the top good, but it allows for useful versatility uses, as it can be a good attacker as well as defender, and you're not locked into one of those plays before you can even decide what kind of card you want to run. So that's why it's a decent card to run. Next up, we got Manipulator of the Gravity Field. This one has the skill of act rearguard circle. If your opponent has 2 or less rearguards, cost, put the unit into your soul, and 3 of your units get plus 4k power until the end of turn. On paper, this might not look that much, as since it's 6k grade 1, and it goes into soul, so you lose a unit, but you give 3 units 4k. But this is actually a pretty decent card, as since a lot of cards are going to use Soul Blast, and you're going to see that in a second, that a lot of cards have the cost of a Soul Blast. So for that, I give it 3 stars, as in contrast to the other cards, it's actually pretty decent with the way that it works. And next up, we've got Bloating Deletor Gaen, and his skills: auto and Vanguard to rearguard circle. When an attack hits a Vanguard, choose 2 of your units and they get power plus 4k until the end of turn. This is outright a bad card that I give 1 star, as since it's a 9k body in a Forest Clan, it has a hit ability, and then it gives 2 units 4k power, but that 4k power can easily be get through other means, like the grade 1 that we just talked about, and the fact that it's a 9k with a hit ability doesn't make it really that great, so that's why only 1 star. Next up, we got a grade 1 deleter, that is Bloating Deletor Catario, and his skills: auto on Vanguard and rearguard circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, if your opponent has 2 or less rearguards, this unit gets 4k until the end of that battle. This is quite decent, as it works well with the deleting aspect of deleters, and it's just a good either attacker or booster depending on the scenario. So that's why I give it 3 stars, as it might be good of an aggro play. Next up, we've got Looter Deletor Gunek, and his skills: auto on Vanguard to rearguard circle. When it attacks or the attack it boosted hits a Vanguard, cost Soul Blast 1, and return one of your other rear guards to your hand. This is a great card that allows you to use on place effect once again, and the fact that it is either it attacks or that it boosted hits the Vanguard means it's a little bit more versatile, but the fact that it still has a hit ability makes it one limited in a sense. And once again, we see Soul Blast, so it's going to conflict with other skills, so I give it 3 stars, but the fact that you can bounce something back and then call it again by activating multiple play skill make it a pretty damn good card. The next up, we've got Opener of the Gates, and her skill is auto on rear guard circle. When placed, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, cast Soul Blast 1, look at the 2 cards from the top of your deck, call up to 1 card with a grade less than or equal to your opponent's Vanguard from among them to your rear guard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. This looks a lot like how Spike Bouncer works, only for the discount that it only costs 1 Soul Blast, but the rest is a way more restricted version of Spike Bouncer. Your opponent needs to have quite an empty field, you are looking at their grade, not at your grade, and you're not looking at as much of cards, and so it's a worse version of that card, and that's why I only give it 3 stars, as it's way more restricted than it enables plays in most sense. Then the next card is Embroil Deletor Jaerga, and its skill is auto rear guard circle. When placed, cast Counterblast 1 and retire another rear guard. Bind all of your opponent's rear guards in the same column as this unit face down. So you trade in an own unit and a Counterblast to destroy the entire column. I'm not fond of this card, and I give it 2 stars because it is a 7k base and you can only make it useful if they have a full column, and since you're already going to bind a lot of cards, then that leaves the question, do they have a column left? And the fact that you also need to sacrifice one of your own units makes it a little bit tricky, so that's why I only tended to give it 2 stars. Next up, we got a Deleting grade 3, and this is Penetrator Deletor Iggy. His skill is auto rear guard circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, cast, retire another rear guard in the same column as this unit, and this unit gets power plus 4k until the end of turn for each grade that the unit retired for this cast. If it was 8k or more, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and bind it face down. This is actually a pretty decent effect in the sense that you get a lot of power from it and you trade one of your rear guard into your other, and it doesn't cost you Counterblast. Sure, with Jaerga you get 2 retires, but it will cost a Counterblast, but this is one. A grade 3 with a force marker, it's a 13k base, and it can generate insanely high power. If you have an excess of grade 3s, you can plop it behind this one and it will gain plus 12k. 12k plus 30 is 25. 25 against the 0 Vanguard is a very scary magic number, and they lose a unit on the field. So that's why I think this is really deserving of its 4 stars, and you're probably going to see maybe a copy or 2 in some deleting decks. The next up on the leader line, we have Fermented Deletor Gaen, and its skill is auto on rear guard circle. At the end of the battle that attacked the Vanguard, cast, retire this unit and discard a card from your hand. Draw a card, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards and bind it face down. This card is pretty good for 2 reasons. As 1, it's a cycle card, and 2, it trades a unit in for your opponent's unit. And you can probably make a better trade as you have the deciding factor of what they are gonna lose and you're not. And you're both gonna lose a grade 1, but maybe their grade 1s have a way more power potential than this specific grade 1. So that's why I'm going to give it 4 stars, as it is a really nasty card to deal with for some players. Then next up, another key card from the trial deck, that is Swift Deletor Geali, and its skills auto rear guard circle. When placed, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets power plus 4k until the end of turn, so it becomes a 14k attacker. Then its second skills, auto on Vanguard rear guard circle. When its attack hits a Vanguard, cast Soul Blast 1, once again, choose one of your opponent's rear guard and bind it face down. If they could not bind the rear guard, draw a card. So this has a similar effect with the hit ability that it can bind something, but if they could not, so they already have an empty field, or they have units that have resist for some reason, then you can draw a card. And that makes the skill a lot more versatile. And the scene also has an on-place with power ability, so the other cards that can potentially bounce something back make this card a lot more reusable. And for that fact, I grant this card 4 stars, as it's a really good aggressive power play grade 2 that probably gonna see in a lot of decks, as the extra on hit hit ability will force a lot of guard from your opponent. Then next we got an interesting duo in the form of Healing Deletor Alba, and its skill is continuous Record Circle. During the battle attack the Vanguard, if Healing Deletor Elro is on your Record Circle, this unit get power plus 4k. So if you have the other grade 2, then this one become a 40k attacker. Pretty damn solid. Then although on drop zone, when your Healing Deletor Elro is placed on the Rearguard circle, cast Soul Blast 1 and call this card to the Rearguard circle. This is pretty damn insane, as when you call the other one to the Rearguard circle, you can basically fetch this thing from the drop zone and fill your board pretty damn easily, and you also fulfill for the +4 condition as you already have the other one in the field. And that's why this card is definitely 5 stars, as it works really well with filling out your board, and against a 0 power opponent, keeping 3 attacks might be very dangerous. And you're probably going to see the same condition for the other grade 2, as the other one is Healing Deletor Elro, and his skill is auto on Rearguard circle. When an attack hits a Vanguard, if Healing Deletor Alba is on your Rearguard circle, cast, counter +1, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards and bind it face down. So another on hit ability where you can bind something once again. But as soon as the other grade 2 fetches this one out, it's pretty damn easy to fulfill that condition. So it's basically just on hit, you can bind something. And the other skill is, once again, auto from drop zone. When your Healing Deletor Alba is placed on the Rearguard circle, cast, counter +1, and call this card to the Rearguard circle. Once again, 5 stars for this card, as these cards basically work in tandem to each other, that if you call one to the field, you can call the other to the drop zone, and either vice versa, and that makes it really nasty for your opponent to deal with their entire board, especially if their Vanguard is 0 power, and they keep generating 3 attacks that are from 10k power or higher. That might be tough for some clans to deal with. The next up, we've got Cadote of Collapse Magnotia, and its skill is continuous Rearguard circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is deleted, or your opponent has a face down card in his or her bind zone, this should get power plus 4k. This is basically a 10k booster or 10k attacker in most of your scenarios, so it's just a good power up beat stick, and therefore I'm going to give it 3 stars, as it's very useful in a lot of cases. Next up, we have a similar grade 2, Big Gunner of the Cataclysmic Variable Star. His skill is continuous Rearguard circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is deleted, or your opponent has a face down card in his or her bind zone, this will get power plus 4k. This one I give 1 star, as soon as it's a 13k grade 2. Yes, it makes magic numbers, but probably in deleting deck that magic number means nothing, as they are 0 power. And your other grade 2s are much better options, and this is just a cheaper alternative to have some pressure out in the field, but it's not really that great. The next up, another key component to the Deletor deck, and that's Ill-Fated Deletor Drown. Its skill is auto on Rearguard circle. When your opponent's Vanguard is deleted, so the moment that they are going to be deleted, cast, put your unit into your soul, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards and bind it face down. If your damage zone has no face-up cards, counter charge 1. This card is outright 5 cards. It goes in soul, and you are going to need for a lot of soul, so it adds to your soul, it binds something from your opponent, and it has potential that you're gonna counter charge. That's pretty damn lot for basically minusing 1 in the field, and this is a card that is going to run in almost every Deletor deck, as it's just so damn good. Then next up, another one of these insane Deletor grade 2 cards. It's Lie Down Deletor Given, and its skills auto on Rearguard circle. At the end of the battle that it attacked, if your opponent's Vanguard is deleted, cast, put 6 Rearguards and cards from your hand in total into the drop zone. Stand your Vanguard, and it get drives -1 until the end of turn. This card is outright 5 stars right at the gate. And it's just because it allows for so much extra pressure. A restanding Vanguard, the discard can either be from your hand entirely, so you can keep your field, so you can attack with your Vanguard, stack the triggers on your Rearguards, attack once again with your Vanguard, and then with your Rearguards. If you want to do that play, you can do vice versa. In Premium, this thing is insane in so many different levels, as it doesn't restrict in any kind of way. And that's why I can only say 5 stars. It's just so insane. If you want to have a more in-depth analysis, then check out this video where I talk about that card in that video. You're probably gonna see it in a lot of decks. Maybe not in Standard as much as in Premium, as the 6 discard can be a little bit heavy on some sides, but it's gonna be run in a lot of decks, as it's just so damn strong, and it deals with the protect matchups where Force has so much trouble to deal with. Then we get to the final 2 cards, basically the main boss monsters of this deleting deck, or Deletor's deck, as they are able to delete your opponent. And as soon as we've seen with all these previous skills, a lot say when your opponent is deleted, or when it's going to be deleted. So let's look at the cards that can do this. So first off, we have Bloating Deletor Greion, and its skills act on Vanguard Circle, cost, Counterblast 2, and delete your opponent's Vanguard. Until the end of that fighter's turn, the deleted unit is turned face down and loses power and attacks. So that's pretty damn powerful as it's an act ability. Counterblast 2, quite logical as deleting is very dangerous and you don't want to be able to spam that each and every turn. The upside to this with the main phase ability of deleting is that you can build your board and place cards that have the skill condition of when it's deleted, like Ill-Fated, Delete, or Drown. Then you can place it on the field and then start deleting. And its second skill is Auto Vanguard Circle. When an attack hits a Vanguard, cost Soul Blast 1, once again Soul, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and bind it face down. So we see again unhittability with these leaders that will require to Soul Blast or Counterblast and then bind something from your opponent's rear guards to the face down in their bind zone. Although usually hit abilities aren't that great, you're going to get some of the hit ability off if everything has an hit ability. And as soon as you're probably at 0 power, they cannot deal with each and every attack, so you're gonna push them hard with all these unhit abilities. And I think this card is definitely a 4-star worth. It maybe will be replaced when we get something better, probably with the upcoming support with the Corpse brand. Then probably this gonna be replaced in that sense, depending on how that card and all those cards are going to work, but still a solid card nonetheless. Then to round everything up, the cream de la cream, the crop de la crop, or whatever you want to call it, the big boss monster of the leaders, that's Waving Deletor Greidhol, their VR. And this one has 2 interesting skills, but before I'm going to talk about them, once again, I'm going to link to the video where I talk about this card, and I highly recommend you to check it out where I go into more details and discuss all the different kind of strategies you can use with this and what the ups and downside of this card is. So if you're interested in that, you know where to go. But the skills are continuous on Vanguard Circle. Your opponent's rearguards cannot move to another rearguard circle. So basically what it does, when you have this thing as a Vanguard Circle, they cannot switch rearguards to the front and back column whatsoever. Even with special skills that allows them to move, they cannot move. So something like a Trident Shooter is locked out. Same as the Grade 1 for Murukumo can also not work as you lock that movement. And what's great about this is when you bind their Grade 2 front row units, they are forced to call extra cards from their hand to the field to be able to attack. Meaning they have less cards in hand to guard with. And as soon as they are probably a 0 power Vanguard each turn, that can be really painful to sustain that much of damage and guard potential. But the real power is in its second skill. And that's Auto on Vanguard Circle. When placed, cost, Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards and bind it face down. If you rode from a Grade 3, delete your opponent's Vanguard and this unit get critical +1 until the end of turn. So basically it's an unwrite like Imperial Daughter skill that deletes your opponent and it gains a crit and it removes one of those units and put it into the bind zone face down. That's a lot for an unwrite Counterblast Soul Blast. And this card is insane that it will give 5 stars. And what makes it even scarier is that you now have a Vanguard that can delete on right, has a crit, and can potentially restand with Given. And that is really scary in a lot of ways. So, yikes. But that basically rounds up everything for the leaders. And yes, I went really fast in these cards as there were a lot of cards to talk about. But you get the general gist of why certain cards get certain ratings. But the leaders has a really interesting mechanic. And they also have that really interesting archetype around the Cyber Dragons. I'm really curious about how that will impact in the future and how that can improve on, as it looks really fun to play. But then again, but we also have the leaders and all their different kind of playstyles. We have these awkward plus, we have this weird +4 kind of way of powering up the field and not +5s. And so I'm really interested in how that's going to work out in practice and in, when we're going to play these decks in real time. And also the different kind of ways that you can build leaders. As with all these different cards, there isn't one specific deck that you can build. There are some interesting little interactions or cards that you can move in and out of your deck. And I'm really happy that they released this many cards for the leaders to play with. But that sums basically everything up for the leaders. And I'm interested in what you guys think about this set, about the leaders in general. Maybe some cards are too broken, like Given or Greidhol, or you're more interested about the Cyber Dragon support set. Then leave your comments and suggestions and discussions down in the comment section below, and let's get this going, guys. But that also signals the end of this set review series, as this was the last clan for Vilest Deletor. So we're probably heading off into playtesting area and we're gonna see what kind of deck builds we're gonna feature on this channel. If you want to have a say in that, go to the community page on my YouTube channel. So go to the YouTube channel and click on the community tab. I have a poll going on where you can vote on what specific clan or deck from this set you want to have a deck profile on. So go to that community poll and vote now, as that poll is going to close in a couple of days. But that sums about everything for this video. So as always guys, I'm Mr. Time Leap and I see you guys in the next one.